Hey everyone. So this is a better start. We got Rumble included in this one now. We're gonna just kind of do this off the cuff because I've got a lot of talking points. So let's get into it. Let's go ahead and just jump right in. So, if you don't know who I am, my name's Christian Sass. I'm the founder and I guess kind of the producer for Seven Talents, and I've been working at building this company for probably, I think at least 10 years now. I haven't checked it up on LinkedIn. It's been a little bit of a day. So I'm wondering how your day is going as well, by the way. I'm going to get the chat pulled up here. Because this is a town hall, and I am interested in finding out what you guys are thinking about. I want to get your feedback. I am currently also live inside of our Seven Talents Discord as well. But yeah, I'm glad you're here. This is a kind of an impromptu thing. I mean, not totally impromptu. Started thinking about this early this morning. That's way too much. Of a short notice for me to actually be comfortable and consider it's something I'm putting together to actually be properly produced. I like to have more than a day in preparation for any show, but this is not a normal show. This is more of a kind of an update, a personal update from me to anyone else who is interested in what Seven Talents has been doing over the past couple of months and what we plan to do in the next upcoming months as well. There's some changes on the horizon. And by the way, we are not going away. The rumors of that are non-existent, so I'm not going to pretend like they exist. I really want to double audio and make sure that my audio is coming through. Because I was having an issue on the stream just before this. Had a friend of mine say that there was no audio coming through. So would love to see some kind of feedback in the chat somewhere. Let me know if you have audio or not. It looks here like we're pushing stuff out. So not sure where that would have been broken. It does show that we are pushing audio to the mains. It does show that we have audio going out the program, and we are within acceptable levels, which is wonderful. So not sure where that came from. And I do show that we have audio going to Discord. That audio is slightly delayed. It is coming through our OBS primarily before we go into it. Looks like we have a comment, so maybe we do have decent audio. We hear you. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it, man. Glad to have that. So today, I just kind of wanted to recap why there's been no streams coming out of Seven Talents as of recently. Basically, long story short, and it's a very long story, we have been, um, I say we because now there's actually a legitimate we. I know a lot of people like to use we in the royal sense when it's just them and they're trying to sound bigger than they actually are. And I've been that. I've been that for years. I, one man shop, two man shop at most. Um, Even working with Tim there, we had maybe three or four people at the most ever working with us. And this is a story that kind of goes back to my roots in the internet. Um, Seven Talents, when I set this company up, was kind of a catch-all. I knew that what I wanted to do were all of the things that I offered in media production, in video production, in um, branding and design and illustration and some animation here and there and just a lot of different things. I wanted to get into some aerial video, kind of dabbled in that arena. Um, but at the end of the day, all of it landed very squarely in doing live video production. And that's uh, in great thanks actually to Tim. He actually introduced me um, to doing live video on at a professional scale, working with Delac Media um, years ago, and it has been an absolute ride ever since we started that process. Um, I do want to share this link out. I think the Rumble is probably the best way for me to share this out to a couple of friends. Uh, Make sure that link, at least we know that link is working. So I will push this actually out internally within my one of our company communications channels, um, and we'll also push it out on X as well. X is probably the best place for me to do it. There we go. Post that. Um, Really prefer all of my interactions to actually happen through Rumble. I believe that uh, since getting into video production and actually catching up with this industry as it's evolved, we've seen a lot of I've seen a lot of change in online video. We were there doing live streaming before Twitch existed. As colleagues of mine will I'm sure happily attest, and I'd like to do another town hall within a couple of weeks that kind of does more of a recap, but I just want to get something out there right now, and that is that um, I am focusing full time and have focused full time for the past um, probably 6 to 8 months. 80, 75 to 80% of my attention has been focused on launching uh, Binary Ranch, which is another company. Now, the reason for me launching this company, and it's not a new company, it was actually the name. BinaryRanch.com is the domain for the first web development company that I started after building my first hosting company here in the Chicagoland area called Digityrus. And I started that company. Digityrus was my first hosting company. I learned a very big lesson in that time frame. And we had a scenario in which we had a server in Florida, ironically. I always say that because I just re-registered Binary Ranch as a Florida-based company. um, because our COO is actually functioning and he has a lot of connections and a lot of inroads to businesses down in Florida, and I wanted to have that tax structure, but um, we set up a Binary Ranch as a hosting company originally in 2008, and that was. After about a year of trying to figure out exactly where video and internet were going to converge. So my move into the internet when I moved up to the Chicagoland area has been very video centric. which the final iteration of that is Seven Talents, going from looking at the internet space, the social media space, the live streaming space, and going through iteration after iteration internally with my own companies, first with Digityrus, then with Binary Ranch in 2008, then moving to Seven Talents, and Seven Talents being this catch-all name. Everything that I do, and realizing that I need to really focus down. And about 2 years ago, really started putting a razor's edge on what I believed Seven Talents needed to do, and what it needed to shed. What more importantly, what Seven Talents shouldn't be doing. And that's really led to a scenario in which I realized that the focus of Seven Talents being in the live streaming space, live video production space, needed some better underpinnings, especially after seeing what had happened with free speech on the internet from the time that I started Seven Talents until the platforms for myself alone. And when I was pressed by who is now my operations, very poignant question, and he asked me this at a very critical juncture about somewhere to be between 6 and 8 months. I don't have the specific date. I was going to look all that up and pull that all together. I can do that later on. I can do that in another presentation that'll be more concise than this one. I mean, I'm already 11 minutes in, and I feel like I'm dragging. But the question that he posed to me after seeing all of the paring down that I was doing within Seven Talents for live video production, I still had a lot of things that were pulling me in multiple directions. That it was exhausting, and I think he saw that, and he paused and he asked me. He goes, "If you could look back now," this is what he tells me. I remember this much more concisely than he does, but he says, "If you could look back on your life, if you would consider your life completely successful, what would be the thing that you had decided to do in this moment that would be the next right thing that you would write down in a memoir or something? That, like, what is the smartest moment, knowing everything that you know?" And I remember exactly right where I was when he asked this question. I was on a cell phone call with him, visiting my mother-in-law, sitting on a couch, just kind of dumping myself out. And he asked this question. It stopped me in my track. My experiences, but the answer to that question wasn't apparent until it was asked. And it was, I had to lay a foundation. I needed to lay a foundation for the things that I knew that I was prepping to do with Seven Talents. And I believe immensely in what I'm going to do with Seven Talents. I think that Seven Talents is is in of itself a foundation for me putting God's word into film, which I believe is a call on my life. If you really get to know me, you'll find that's at the core of my why. Doing video production for myself eventually, after being able to take care of my family. But I don't feel that I can do that until I have established a beachhead in this, what we consider to be Web 3.0, right? Everyone had talked about what Web 1.0 and Web 2.0 was. And if you don't know, the real high level version of this, Web 1.0 was the hand coded web, right? The internet that you developed yourself, you edited with strict, with Hot Dog or with Front Page, or you hand coded it, and you were a web developer, and it was just basically a bunch of documents in HTML, HTML, CSS, that kind of stuff. If you've done it, you've done it. You've been a developer, and then you got into content management systems, and I would still consider content management inside of the hand coded web era kind of Web 1. And then along came Dig. So the company would report on the top 10 stories of the week, and it was immensely satisfying to watch a story that you would report and that would get voted up become part of that week's news. And I kind of felt that was a a human algorithm. It was a pre-algorithm algorithm. It was honest. It was, I think, something that we see Elon trying to do with X today. Is I think he's trying to tune and strip and pull away all of the mechanisms of control that exist to shape speech with algorithms. We didn't have any algorithms with MySpace, but we all left MySpace in the dust for Facebook, and Facebook, lock, stock, and barrel, completely replaced blogging, live scribes, all that stuff disappeared almost overnight with social media, and we aggregated sharing our information in a public town square that we didn't own and we didn't have any ownership of, unlike the Web 1.0 days. And so Web 2.0, I think, began with the algorithm, began probably when Facebook launched, when Twitter really launched, and when it started algorithmically controlling what would be in your feed. So when you lost control of your feed was when that era started. And we would learn towards the end of what we would classify as Web 2.0 was kind of the control of speech that we saw getting enforced after 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015. About that time frame, we saw the internet as a whole start to be shaped, and not shaped by the users. It was shaped by corporations. It was shaped by advertisers. It was shaped by um, people we didn't ever get to see or had any say over what would happen, and we started to lose our free speech. And it appeared to me at that time that I needed to look very hard at what it meant to be in the content creation space, in the live production space, when what you say can be taken down just as quickly as you can put it up, and without any explanation, without any recourse. So free speech was at risk, and I knew that I needed to start studying all of these technologies and really try to determine for myself what would be my next moves. How do we work our way, navigate our way back to a freer internet? And when I started looking at those solutions, I then realized I had seen movies like The Great Hack, um, The Social Dilemma. Um, there were a couple other films that had some. I don't want to do a full screen share here. We can do all that later on in a different video. But I have this whole chart. If you know me, you know. If you know, you know. Um, there were a lot of influences that made it very clear. I think it was actually with the Social Dilemma that that film ended, and I went, okay, I can no longer um, endorse any of my clients having anything to do with Google, and including myself. And I've been trying to work my way away from big tech ever since films like that, ever since films like Snowden and Citizen 4. Um, and then ultimately, I think the nail in the coffin for me was a friend of mine put out a film called uh, Shadowgate. And it just connected a lot of dots for me as to where the levers of control were, what would have to be done to actually get away from the risk of deplatformation, and what needed to happen for content creators to actually uh, have the ability to make a living doing something that they love, which really means parallel economy research. Naturally, that coincided with Rumble. I believe Rumble is doing the Lord's work, as they say, in making platforms available for uh, content creators to monetize their work, and also be impervious to cancel culture. And so that speaks to me. That's I think that was a great first step. And I believe that what we're going to be doing with Binary Ranch is going to be filling in the rest of those gaps. And that is what I have been focusing on, and we are very close to launching. Um, that is why I have been so quiet in Seven Talents, as I have been focusing on answering that question that was asked of me. We immediately got to work once it was clear what I should be doing and what I should be focusing on, and I have been focusing on that up until now. And so this is just kind of like a little bit of a teaser about what will be coming. If you'd like to know, you can go to binaryranch.com. I don't have any lower third prepped, but I can pop one up here real quick. Um, it is something that I care deeply about, and that is protecting not just my family, but if I can find an exit to big tech, I want to provide that exit to my customers, to my clients, to my friends, to my family, my people that I know in ministry. There's so many other people that I want to make sure have that off ramp. So if you would like, I will post the right here in the bottom. This is where my focus has been. So I guess it's kind of an announcement that this is returning. This binaryranch.com is returning, and we are going to be providing Nextcloud as a turnkey solution. And we're also going to be doing some very unique things when it comes to integration with live video streaming. Like this is there's a lot of underpinning technology that we can talk about later in other talks that we do with these town halls. I'm going to continue to keep people up to date on both Binary Ranch and on Seven Talents. So there will be more updates here. Updates that'll be more planned. But I hope to do at the very least, a bi-weekly, if not a weekly update again with Seven Talents once I get moving much more consistently with Binary Ranch. We'll be doing updates on both platforms, which have two very different goals. I do have clients that are currently with Seven Talents. We are not disappearing. We have collaborations that I'm working on. I have consulting clients that are working or depending on Seven Talents to provide services for them. So that isn't going to slow down any more than it already is. We are planning basically to make a return to full function. Actually launching a business product for the first time within I would hope within the next 6 months. But obviously some infrastructure has to be set first. So that's what I'm doing. Right now I'm laying foundations for what Seven Talents will become. I've not abandoned it. I'm doing what I can to strengthen what I do going forward, because when we have the foundation set with our with all of our data, with all of our client data, all of our entire monetization ecosystem, all that stuff, it'll be on architecture and systems that we own. And we want you to have the same access to those tools in your endeavors with your companies. So you will be seeing a lot of cross-pollination between those two endeavors with Seven Talents and Binary Ranch. But there's actually dependency between the two. So they're different, but they're part of the same complex, so to speak. But what I really expect to have happen is I expect that to actually be a cascading. My prediction is that what will happen once the ranch is established, once Binary Ranch is established, that it will in turn also cascade into seeing Seven Talents progress a lot faster, and in turn actually become something that I can kind of trade one for the other. I would like to get Binary Ranch actually launched to be something that operates outside of what I'm doing with Seven Talents. I don't plan to do that for the rest of my life. What I do plan to do for the rest of my life is eventually put God's Word into film. And with all the time that I'm not doing that, I would be supporting other people in making the best live video productions that they possibly can, setting the gold standard for live video streaming in the new era of the internet, in Web 3.0. We'll be leaning into Fediverse technologies. We'll be leaning into what Rumble is doing with Tether and monetization there. The Rumble wallet, we're looking at trying to get that integrated in some other platforms. There's a lot of things that we want to do with Rumble. We are on the cusp of having those negotiations very soon. But I'd like to kind of have what we have to have in order before having those conversations. So, that's just kind of the status and the lay of the land. If you guys have any questions, feel free to pop them into comments. Other than that, I've been going for a good 25 minutes, at least 26 minutes now on Rumble, 27 minutes on the other platforms. But if there's anything that you would like to ask about this transition period, don't hesitate to send me an email. You can do that at info@7talents. You can also follow us if you want on LinkedIn. If you're watching us on Rumble, thank you. If you're watching us on YouTube, appreciate that as well. On X, and we will eventually get to where we're doing our live stream updates again, once things kind of get settled with the other company. But there will be town halls, there will be updates, and I appreciate everybody's patience. If they had worried that I had gone offline and never to come back, that is not the case. That's all this is just reassurance that what's actually coming is going to be better than what 7 Talents would be by itself. So, again, really appreciate you all. Make sure to email me if you have any questions, anything that you would like me to clarify, or if you are interested in getting any kind of advice on your live stream or your live productions, you can drop an email there. So again, I appreciate you greatly for taking this half an hour of your night and hanging with me. Sorry, this thing did not start at 7 when we were originally planning, but this is more important that we get this out on Rumble, because I believe that is where the future of live streaming will end up being. That we're seeing a major shift in technology. I don't think we're going to recognize the internet 6 months from now. And I hope we have a good amount of responsibility for helping to change how we all use the internet in the next upcoming year. So God bless you all. If you have any inquiries about Binary Ranch, please don't hesitate to send an email to info@Binary Ranch as well. And there will be an announcement there as well. That'll be the next video that we put out, is a bit of a launch announcement for the first time, a little introduction. But until then, I'll keep you all posted. Make sure to follow me on X. Make sure to follow Binary Ranch, follow 7talentscom on X, and Sashton on X as well. And take care. God bless. Have an awesome holiday. And we'll talk with everybody very soon. Take care.